Yeah, c- competition is, what I've always tried to do, whenever I enter into discourse with other units of consciousness that are communicating with me, and we get into certain subject areas, I revert back to childhood, and so I just become a 4-year-old child again. Let's just simplify this, so you can go through the complexity of the celestial mechanics, the math and the physics, right? So what I do is just, it's not pretending because it's very real to me. I just go back into my 4-year-old mode of what I experienced when I was 4 years of age and 6 years of age. Because all I had to do was look at my dad's aeronautical, all his stuff. My dad had a pretty good library, a decent library of all the engineering stuff, calculus, math, and all the rest of that, right? So I'm looking through all this stuff as a small child, but the first thing that I acknowledged was, for how long they've been harvesting energy off every generation, right? How come they couldn't get it figured out within one generation? And then I'm 6 years of age doing this, okay? Trying to figure out how long does it take for a unit of consciousness that is experiencing what love is, right? To accelerate the speed of its drive motor, to run hyperspace, right? So you realize something's wrong. And particularly when you're experiencing your consciousness down at lower electrical density. So remember I mentioned it's like leaving home, but you're always at home, which is what love is. It goes on forever because you're experiencing the primal sound and light field. You're experiencing eternal unconditional love to your own heart. So that's what I call a default position. That's the default position, which means I am what love is. So let's keep it simple. Let's bring a tight focus right into the camera. Okay, I'm observing myself. I'm observing what love is in my mirror. Okay, and so if you're experiencing what love is, it goes on forever. You obviously know that it is because I'm experiencing what that is, and that's called knowing. So you know what you are in energy. So that's an energy identity. That means I have a relationship with love, eternal love. So I'm experiencing God's love, God's creation energy through my heart. So if I'm experiencing what love is, and I know that's the energy that I use to create something with, then I know that energy is energy that we can use to create an experience with. So if that's what I'm doing, that's called a frame of reference. So I just keep it simple. I use love to create what I experience in my mirror. Now, what is the form of energy that you use to create what you experience in your mirror? Okay, because magnets are mirrors. So you can see what it was like being so small and then having, my father, who was in his 30s at the time, who's, a brilliant mathematician and physics guy, right? Engineers or problem solvers. And the occupations that my father was in, occupational codes, right? Working for these different aeronautical outfits, one of which was reaction motors, part of Morton Thiokol. It all comes under one umbrella, man. The corporate interplanetary military operations, right? Based on different races that form alliances in order to do what? Control gates, wormholes, and consciousness. Control energy. Control consciousness energy. So you know that love doesn't seek to control anything because it's on fire to create. Right? So you realize that, hey, let it all go. So you already know as a child, hey, I'm letting all my energy go. I'm giving you all energy. Right? What's the matter? What's the matter with this place? Right? Why are they wanting to hold energy captive? And what you begin to realize what it means to be inverted, it means that your consciousness cannot let go of electrons. It cannot let go of those units of consciousness that represent energy to let them go to be free. To experience what love is, it goes on forever. That means they don't want you to experience what love is. Because they don't experience what love is. Now you become a source of energy because they know from whence it began. So they're trying to hold God captive. Okay? As a battery slave to run all their machines. Right? So it is like one of those songs that came out in the 60s with the Beatles. Let it be free, let it be free. I mean, I know that through my own experiences with a gazillion different relationships that I've had, not just everything that's in nature, okay? All your aquatic, all your flora and fauna, right? But the biped population, people running around with 2 feet and 2 eyeballs, 2 arms and 2 legs and a trunk, right? Mouthpieces, microphones, communicating with each other across a grid, right? So, it's sort of anticlimactic when you already know that the clock has been reset. So it's just, that's why I thought it's just, there isn't any real reason to put any videos up for these folks because it's already a done deal. So it's like water under a bridge. Enjoy yourself, right? And there's that side of that. So sometimes I have to look at myself and laugh and ask myself, why am I even doing this? There has to be some value for this, okay? And some of it has to do with just sharing all this in a public way as sort of therapeutic. Some of it is for others that I work with that are very close friends of mine, and I do them. And then there are some that I will post. I will give them a link to this particular video because I realize, knowing where they're at, the level that they're operating at, what they're feeling, what they're going through, this might be a video that might lift their spirit, lift their heart, experience more love in them. And so that's what it's all about, is raising your spirit, raising your energy, experiencing more love, more kindness, more honor, all the virtues. Most people know what those are, right? I mean, I didn't invent this stuff, right? I was born into creation out of fire. It's experience what love is, goes on forever. So I am in eternal grateful mode, because it's an eternal blessing to be able to experience what love is through your heart. There's no greater gift that I know of. I call it a gift from heaven. So you can see what it's like when you experience beings or different races across the entire spectrum that don't experience that. The center point, a perfect balance between atoms that are cycling, atmospheric pressure, right? And so it's going to be interesting here. There are subtle changes taking place here on the Big Island because my antenna is so sensitive. Sometimes, like right now, I'm hearing these real high sonic tones. It's like little bells, those tiny bells, the fine stuff. Like real fine little filaments of electrified sound, ooh, and light. And it's it's a cause to celebrate. I know that there was somebody that mentioned that both sides are tired of this. I mean, there was an old saying: is your cup half full or half empty? Remember that? Water column. My cup is always full, which means my heart is always full of love, right? And it's like being on a pogo stick, And so when I think about it through what I call all sides of the round table on this, energy wars between sides, polarities, if you will, become tiring for obviously both sides. So when you're one, it's like being a bystander. You know, like when you guys get done duking it out with each other, I'll still be here loving all of you. Duke energy. Yeah, duking it out, the boxing ring. Opponents. You know, my head's going from left to right. Yeah, ping pong. Ping. I know. Have a great day.